Welcome to NBA Scoop Central, your go-to spot for all the latest NBA news, rumors, and deep dives. If you're a true Hoops fan, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a single scoop. The Golden State Warriors season came to a heartbreaking end on Wednesday night after falling to the surging Minnesota Timberwolves, capping off a frustrating postseason run. The loss didn't just mark the end of a campaign, it highlighted the uncertainties surrounding the Warriors' current roster construction and what may lie ahead in the offseason. Golden State's playoff hopes took a massive hit right from the start when their franchise cornerstone, Stephen Curry, pulled up with a hamstring injury in the opening game of the Western Conference semifinals. It was a gut punch to a team that had just started to find rhythm, and while early speculation hinted that Curry might return if the series stretched to 6 or 7 games, the Warriors couldn't keep the flame alive long enough. They stole Game 1 in a stunning performance, igniting a glimmer of hope among fans, but it wasn't long before that fire was snuffed out by 4 consecutive losses. Without Curry's steady hand and 24.5 points per game, the Warriors were left scrambling for a new identity on the court. In stepped Jonathan Kuminga, a player whose role had been inconsistent throughout the season, but who suddenly found himself thrust into the spotlight. Kuminga seized the opportunity with admirable poise, contributing offensively and showing flashes of the potential that made him a first-round pick. However, while his burst to the rim and mid-range aggression gave the Warriors a temporary lifeline, it became clear that his skill set didn't quite fill the void Curry left behind. Kuminga lacks the deep shooting range and floor spacing ability that's been a hallmark of the Warriors' success over the past decade, and in a series where spacing and perimeter shooting were paramount, that deficiency became glaring. To make matters more complicated, Kuminga's rise overlaps stylistically with Jimmy Butler, who also saw sporadic minutes due to injury. Having two players who thrive in similar areas of the court can sometimes be more of a puzzle than a blessing, especially in today's NBA, where versatility and spacing often dictate playoff success. Despite Kuminga's increased scoring output, the team's offensive sets became cramped and predictable. Defenders sagged off both him and Butler, clogging the lane and daring the Warriors to beat them from deep, a challenge they couldn't consistently answer. And with Curry sidelined, that challenge only grew taller. It's the kind of postseason exit that forces front offices to reevaluate what pieces truly fit in the puzzle and which ones may need to be moved. Enter the looming offseason, which now stands as a critical crossroads for the Warriors. While Kuminga is a promising young asset, he's also a restricted free agent, which gives the Warriors both leverage and flexibility. The front office could opt to retain him as part of a youth movement alongside names like Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski. Or they could leverage his upside in a sign-and-trade deal to bring in a more polished, win-now piece who can complement Curry as he enters the back end of his prime. This latter option has reportedly gained traction behind closed doors, especially as the team looks to maximize whatever championship window remains with their veteran core still intact. According to NBA insider Logan Murdoch from The Ringer, there's one name that has emerged on the Warriors' radar: Derek White, the Boston Celtics guard has had an eye-opening playoff run and could be the exact kind of two-way backcourt presence Golden State is missing. White is athletic, gritty, and perhaps most importantly, he can shoot the three ball at a high clip. His postseason numbers speak volumes, averaging 20.1 points per game in the Eastern Conference semifinals while guarding some of the league's most dynamic scorers. He's a player who doesn't demand the spotlight, but thrives when it shines on him. And in a system like Steve Kerr's, where off-ball movement and smart decision-making are key, White could fit like a glove. It's also worth noting that the Celtics are rumored to be looking at cost-cutting options this offseason under their new ownership group. With Jason Tatum potentially missing significant time due to injury and Jaylen Brown on a supermax deal, Boston could find themselves in a financial bind. In that scenario, moving off of White, especially if it nets them a younger high upside player like Kuminga, might be a move that works for both franchises. For Golden State, it would be a calculated risk that aligns with their desire to stay competitive in the twilight years of the Curry era, while Boston secures a long-term asset who could blossom into a star with more opportunity. Derek White's value goes beyond just scoring. He brings a level of defensive toughness that the Warriors could sorely use, especially in the backcourt. With Klay Thompson no longer the elite defender he once was, and Gary Payton II struggling to stay healthy, Golden State has lacked a true perimeter stopper. White checks that box. He's also proven to be a clutch performer, hitting timely shots, and making the kind of hustle plays that don't always show up in the box score, but win games. That kind of contribution could take pressure off Curry and allow him to conserve energy for late-game heroics instead of carrying the offensive load for 4 quarters. This potential move would signal a shift in how the Warriors are thinking. For years, their identity was tied to their strength in numbers mantra, a deep bench and a flurry of offensive weapons circling around Curry, Thompson, and Draymond Green. But with age and injuries taking their toll, the team has struggled to replicate that formula. Adding White could rejuvenate that identity, giving the team not just another scorer, but a connector. Someone who bridges the gap between the veterans and the younger generation. It's not a blockbuster name like Durant or Kawhi, but in many ways, White could be a more seamless fit in the culture and system that's made the Warriors a dynasty. What makes this scenario even more intriguing is how it might set the table for other offseason moves. If Golden State does bring in White, it could affect decisions around Thompson's free agency, Chris Paul's future with the team, and even whether the Warriors continue to develop younger players or package them for another big piece. This is more than just one trade. It could be the first domino in a new chapter for the franchise. And for fans who've grown accustomed to the Warriors always being in the mix, that's both exciting and nerve-wracking. Change is inevitable, but how it's managed determines whether dynasties fade quietly or roar back to life. As we look ahead to the coming months, all eyes will be on Bob Myers' replacement and the Warriors front office to see how bold they're willing to be. Are they ready to make a splash to extend the Curry window, or will they stay conservative and bet on internal growth? Whatever direction they choose, the margin for error is shrinking. One thing is clear, standing still is not an option. Derek, White might not be the flashiest name on the market, but he could be exactly what Golden State needs. An unselfish, two-way player who fits the system and brings playoff pedigree. The Warriors dynasty isn't dead, but it is at a turning point. What happens next will define not just next season, but the legacy of this era. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm always reading and replying. And if you're enjoying the video, give it a quick like. It helps more NBA fans find us. In a stunning twist that's got the entire NBA community buzzing, rumors are heating up that Devin Booker could be on his way out of Phoenix, heading straight to one of the Suns' biggest recent playoff rivals, the Dallas Mavericks. That's right, folks, you heard it. Booker to Dallas. Now, I know that sounds wild on the surface. The guy is practically the face of the Suns franchise. Drafted in 2015, loyal through the lean years, and central to their run to the finals in 2021. But this offseason has been anything but predictable, and whispers from insiders are getting louder. With the Suns falling short again in the playoffs, and with questions swirling about the long-term viability of the Kevin Durant, Bradley, Bill, Devin Booker trio, the idea of shaking things up doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. And Dallas? Well, they're reportedly watching all of this very closely. Luka Doncic may be getting a new superstar wingman, Devin Booker in a Mavericks jersey. Just let that image sink in for a second. The idea alone is enough to send shockwaves through both fan bases. Booker teaming up with Luka would instantly form one of the most potent offensive duos in the league, maybe even rivaling what Steph and Klay once had in Golden State. The Mavs have long needed a reliable, elite-level shot creator to ease the burden on Luka, and Booker fits that role like a glove. He's not just a shooter, he's a bucket. He's got that mid-range mastery, the footwork, the ability to go off for 40 on any given night. And let's not forget, he's one of the most efficient playoff scorers of this era. If Dallas can pull this off, they're going from playoff hopefuls to instant contenders. But this kind of move wouldn't come cheap. And that's where things start getting really interesting. So what would a deal for Booker even look like? First off, you'd have to imagine Kyrie Irving is part of the conversation. The Mavs have a huge contract tied up in Kyrie. And while he's shown flashes of brilliance alongside Luka, the fit hasn't been as seamless as fans hoped. A Booker for Kyrie centered swap, perhaps with a few young assets and picks thrown in, might give both teams what they need. The Suns could retool around Kyrie and Durant, which might feel a bit strange, but it's not unthinkable, especially if the front office believes this current core has reached its ceiling. Booker, meanwhile, would get a fresh start, a chance to chase a ring with another generational talent in Doncic and maybe even a system that better complements his skills. Nothing's confirmed yet, of course, but there's real momentum behind the scenes. This isn't your usual off-season gossip. From a basketball perspective, the fit between Booker and Luka is incredibly intriguing. Luka is a heliocentric force. He needs the ball in his hands, he creates, he controls the pace. Booker, on the other hand, is incredibly adaptable. He can create off the dribble, sure, but he's also elite off the ball, moving through screens, catching and shooting and finding gaps in the defense. It's not hard to envision them taking turns torching defenses, with Luka orchestrating and Booker delivering dagger after dagger. And let's be honest, Luka needs help. He's been carrying the Mavericks for years now, and although the Kyrie experiment had promise, it never quite clicked when it mattered. Booker brings not only scoring, but leadership, playoff experience, and an alpha mentality that could push Dallas over the top. If Jason Kidd can find the right system to balance both stars, the Mavericks might just create the next NBA super team. Now, from the Suns' point of view, moving Devin Booker is almost unthinkable. But the league has changed. Player movement is the new normal. Teams are less sentimental and more focused on maximizing windows. Phoenix went all in with Durant and Beal, but their lack of depth was brutally exposed in the playoffs. Trading Booker might allow them to redistribute talent, get younger, and reload for another run without completely bottoming out. Think about it. If they could land Kyrie and, say, Josh Green or Derek Lively too, plus a couple of future firsts, they could potentially stay competitive while adding flexibility. The West is stacked. Staying still isn't an option. The Suns' front office may be facing some tough choices, and if they believe Booker isn't happy, or if they think they've already peaked with this trio, moving on now could be the smarter. Long-term play. Of course, there's a huge emotional layer to this too. Booker is beloved in Phoenix. He's the longest tenured player, the homegrown star who stuck it out through years of losing seasons before finally leading the Suns to relevance. Fans are emotionally attached to him, and rightly so. Moving him would signal the end of an era, a major identity shift for the franchise. But sometimes you have to break something apart to build something better. Just look at what Boston did when they moved Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie, or what Toronto did with DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi. Championship windows don't wait for feelings. If Phoenix believes this is their chance to retool before things fall apart, they may have to make a brutally tough call. And from Booker's perspective, he might be ready. Ready for a new city, a new challenge, and maybe finally a real shot at the title. One thing we can't ignore is how this would shake up the entire Western Conference. Imagine the arms race this would spark. You'd have Denver, the defending champs, suddenly looking over their shoulders. The Lakers, Warriors, and Clippers would be forced to react. The Spurs, with Victor Wembanyama on the rise, might accelerate their rebuild. The West is already a battlefield, and adding Booker to Dallas might tilt the balance in a big way. Not only would the Mavericks have one of the most dangerous backcourts in the league, but their offense would become borderline unguardable. That kind of firepower demands respect, and more importantly, forces opponents to adjust their entire game plan. The ripple effect of a move like this would be massive. We're not just talking about a trade, we're talking about a tectonic shift. There's also the media and marketing side of this to consider. Devin Booker in Dallas means more nationally televised games, more jersey sales, and a whole new level of spotlight. The Mavericks would become must-watch TV. Luka already draws eyeballs, but pairing him with a bona fide star like Booker would elevate the franchise's profile to a whole new level. Think about what this duo could do off the court. Endorsements, brand deals, even international reach. Luka's global appeal combined with Booker's cool, understated charisma? That's a marketing goldmine. The NBA is always looking for its next great duo, and this could be it. It's the kind of move that shifts narratives, not just standings. And for Booker, it might be a chance to finally step out of the Phoenix desert and into a bigger, brighter spotlight. Now, let's be clear, nothing is finalized yet. This is all still in the realm of high-level speculation. No Woj bomb, no Shams tweet confirming the deal, but the buzz is real, and where there's smoke, there's often fire. Booker has remained tight-lipped, as always, but insiders suggest his camp is open to a move, especially if the Suns aren't making meaningful progress. Meanwhile, Dallas is exploring every avenue to build a contender around Luka, and they've reportedly identified Booker as a dream target. Talks may not be at the finish line, but they're happening. The next few weeks will be critical. The NBA draft, free agency, summer league, all of it could serve as a backdrop for this blockbuster to unfold. So stay tuned, folks. Because if Devin Booker really does land in Dallas, the NBA landscape is about to change in a big, big way. And there you have it. Devin Booker to the Mavericks, just a rumor for now, but one that feels more plausible by the day. It's the kind of move that turns heads, sparks debates, and changes the course of franchises. Whether you're a Suns fan dreading the loss of your franchise cornerstone, or a Mavs fan dreaming of Luka and Book lighting it up together, one thing's for sure. This story is just getting started. We'll be keeping a close eye on every report, every whisper, every anonymous source until we know for sure what the future holds. But imagine the first time Booker laces up in Dallas blue, takes that pass from Luka, and drills a deep three. It could happen. And if it does, it might just be the beginning of the NBA's next great era. Hit that like button if you want to see it happen. Subscribe if you're ready for the drama. This offseason's about to get wild. Thanks for watching NBA Scoop Central, where the game never sleeps. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this with your fellow NBA junkies. Until next time, stay locked in and stay hooping.